That was so phony. I hope you thought that was, okay, let's redo it. Welcome to Proof It. Today we're looking at a classic dilemma when it comes to creative feedback. Do you push back or shut up? It's a question that spans all of creation. Even when Michelangelo was painting the Sistine Chapel, I'm sure the Pope came in and said, "Can you make their fingers touch?" And he had to say no, respectfully. But it's all about balancing respect for stakeholder input with the integrity of your creative vision and not being excommunicated. So let's set the scene. You're working on a bold, brand new concept for a campaign. You get the draft done, send it out, then feedback from multiple stakeholders starts rolling in. You start seeing that half of it's contradictory. Someone says, "Let's make this more minimal." Another says, "We need more text." And your creative director wants to see more abstract imagery. You're left with an ad that looks like it was done by 5 different people. Sound familiar? That's the 400-pound gorilla we're trying to tame here. Let's figure out how to keep your creative integrity intact while making sure your stakeholders don't feel ignored. First up, we need to distinguish between objective and subjective feedback. Objective feedback is tied to real data, brand guidelines, user insights, or project goals like our brand palette is strictly navy or white, or our CTA must mention free shipping because 70% of our customers respond to that. Subjective feedback, on the other hand, might sound like, "I hate the color green. It reminds me of lizards," or "Can we add more excitement?" Let's be totally clear. We're not saying that subjective feedback is bad, but it's often personal opinion, and personal opinion can derail a project if it overrides brand or user requirements. So, step 1, politely say something like, "Great note, but do you think this feedback addresses the project's goal? Or are we veering into personal preferences?" Massage the wording based on your needs, but you get the idea. The point is that the question alone can save you from endless revisions based on whim. Okay, let's say a stakeholder gives a note that's clearly not aligned with the brand's objective. It happens all the time and doesn't have to ruin your day. Instead of outright rejecting it, you can ask clarifying questions like, "This is good feedback, but curious how this change aligns with the campaign goal." Or, "Is there a specific data point that suggests we should pivot in that direction?" Think of it like talk therapy for feedback, guiding them to realize whether their suggestion is valid or a shot in the dark. By making it about the project and not the person, you avoid bruised egos. It's the only therapy that costs nothing and you get tons out of it. Plus, as a bonus, you're solidifying open communication and respect in your organization. Nice. There are moments when the brand voice or campaign goal truly outweighs personal style, like a lot of moments. So, if a stakeholder suggestion actually helps you achieve a key business objective, it might be time to back off your personal preference. Sometimes creatives and marketers get too attached to our own brilliance, guilty as charged. So stepping aside could be a strategic move. At the end of the day, the final product has to serve the brand, the user, and/or the campaign. If ignoring your personal style is what it takes to hit that bullseye, so be it. Your portfolio and your sense of pride will still be intact, trust me. Now we know a little more about navigating feedback. It's time for a shameless plug. Ziflow can actually help you navigate these delicate feedback situations a lot easier. By centralizing all comments and updates, you get a better view of which suggestions are objective and which are purely subjective. Plus, you can automate review stages so the right stakeholders see the asset at the right time, reducing the risk of contradictory feedback from every corner of the building. Ziflow also keeps a full comment history and version trail. That means if you do decide to push back or pivot based on a stakeholder's request, you can quickly show them, "Hey, this is how the design evolved, and here's the rationale for each change." That transparency is your ticket for building trust and reducing drama. It's time for our Proof It tip of the day. If you sense an oncoming wave of purely subjective feedback, ground the conversation in data, user insights, or brand objectives. That way, if a stakeholder says, "I just don't like the color red," you can pivot the discussion to, "Does the color choice align with our brand guidelines or user research?" Keep things professional and outcome-focused, not personal. And that's how you handle creative feedback without losing your sanity, or your art, or your job. Remember, not all feedback is created equal, but every piece of feedback can be addressed diplomatically if you keep the conversation tied to your project's goals. Thanks for tuning in to Proof It. If you're ready to streamline your feedback process and maintain a crystal clear record of every change, check out Ziflow. Sign up at ziflow.com/signup and let your content flow, minus the drama. Until next time, happy creating.